viewers. I am Sergeant retired Marco De Leon, and I retired 2014, and this is my post for my own. I'm advocating for myself as a veteran to deal with the Veterans Health Administration, in which I will be advocating and posting a having a post every single day until I get my medical situation resolved with the Veteran Health Administration. Okay. And whatever any other hidden department I need to deal with. Okay. So a quick skinny again, I'll do it every time. Is I retired 2014 Army, okay, Army National Guard. I was deployed 2009 to 10 Iraq. I sustained two head injuries, one back injury, one hand injury. These are all combat related injuries. And the back injury was the main issue the according to the self evaluation of pain. Y'all know that, right? I mean, geez, if you haven't had a back injury before and it's severe, it is bad. I mean, some sciatic nerve back pain is so severe that you're walking with a limp, and it's like having a toothache. If you have not had a toothache, people, there are people who don't have this. They don't have go through the experience of having a severe toothache. If you have had a decayed tooth or toothache, oh man, it is mood changing. Okay, there is absolutely nothing you can do about it until it is properly taken care of. I mean, you can do all sorts of therapies. Put some whiskey in it, like my grandmother used to do when I was a kid. Try to kill the nerve. All sorts of things, right? The gels and over the counter stuff. But man, I tell you, when it decides to say hello, your toothache will feel like it's gonna kill you. I mean, it's so bad, especially if it's extreme where it gives you a headache. Oh my lord, I don't know. You can't. Yeah, it's terrible. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So anyhow, I'm going to be advocating for myself every single day. I started a few days ago. Oof. And I have been dealing with advocating for myself for 8 to 10 years now. Returning home 2009 April, and I was having some problems with the injuries I had sustained. Now, without getting into detail, it's so boring. It's boring as hell. I mean, it's extremely boring to get into talking about your injuries, your pains, your aches, and nobody wants to hear that crap. Unless it's something that is has some drama attached to it, right? Which mine does. I just don't know how to express it enough to get people's attention because I've been trying for 8 years to do it, and apparently I'm not doing well enough job. But if I figure I can do some basic stuff like post every day until I get the care I need through the Veterans Health Administration, then and it's attached to my medical status. So it's not just about getting care. It's about I have to have a change of medical status in order to receive the benefits, right? And benefits all the way around. Okay, so it's very difficult. And so you guys could see this as a show. Tune into it every day to see what I will be posting all the progress that comes my way. Anybody that reaches out to me with conflict or positive stuff, I will be posting it if it's worth. If I have some people that have a conflict with my status and my situation, which I will, I will. I will talk about it. If I don't think it's that important, then it won't be. But it makes a show. So I figured if I can share it and get it, so that way you tune in. It's like tuning in to a TV show that you're watching, right? And we will together, we will work to get. I'll give you guys the information. You guys could follow up with it and follow through, and we can do this together. All right, because it's important to expose and have the most trans. What's the word I'm looking for with the T? Yeah, the transparent. There we go. Situation or experience that I can share. That we can both deal with, because basically my situation is the people's situation. It's your situation as well. Because if you're a tax paying United States of America loving person, all right, and there are some that are not, but if you're a tax paying person, you're paying for veterans across our country to get the care they need. It's coming from you guys, all right? I don't know what kind of black money goes through the Veterans Administration, but the way the VA runs is by taxes. Okay, so I'm just giving you guys a step by step in having more transparency into a real issue, into an issue that I need to expose. All right, because my situation is unique. It's not special. It's just unique. All right, it's been I've been dealing with it for 8 to 10 years, and um, I've just been a very good veteran. I've been playing the very good veteran to try and work with the Veterans Health Administration and lots of people outside the Veterans Health Administration. So we're going to create this transparency show. It's a transparent show to make progress. You guys can see what kind of progress I'm going to make with getting help from my situation. So let's start it off. All right. And like I said, so 2000, all we need to know right now is that I was medically retired in 2014. Okay. And that's what the Army National Guard. So I've been through quite the process. Okay. Um, and since my medical situation with the Veterans Health Administration is unique. Okay. Now, when I say that, I mean that I have ran into some problems with what I'm claiming. The injury itself is um, is unique in its own way, because it hadn't presented itself until a little bit of time, not a long time, but a couple of months later. Not even a few months, like 2 months, it started to present itself. It was overshadowed by my worst uh, um, ailment, which was my back injury that I received while I also received a head injury, one of out of two. And so altogether, it makes it very complicated situation. Okay. Um, so again, retired medically 2014, and when I was retired, I wasn't properly retired with the status, okay, of being medically retired. Um, so a lot of things in my case, we're going to call it my medical case, I have been dealing with, and it has taken me to this day today to have nothing resolved, nothing forwarded to addressing what the issue is with my medical situation. Now it's a damn shame in my case. It's a damn shame that no one person that has medical authority or some kind of administrative authority, okay, in both the Veteran Federal Administration, with the federal government, and with my medical or my immediate Army unit. Right now, the Army side of the military side of my case, that has been somewhat excluded now. I mean, it just needs to be followed up because there's nothing, absolutely nothing they can do after you're retired. It's just absolutely zero you can do. Now, some people are saying, "Oh, that's not true." Well, it is in my case. Okay, and like I said, I have a unique case, and so things just have to be brought up, and they have to address their portion, the Army side, of dealing with what I have been claiming for the last 8 years, and what the process, because they have a process, they just need to address it and apply it to me. Whereas something that's continuous right now, continuous, is through the federal government, which is the Veterans Health Administration. They have been causing the reluctancy to forward my situation to be addressed properly by rules, regulations, and all that kind of stuff. These rules and regulations is part of my problem with the VA, and that has to do with the workers at the VA, right? The people that work at the VA aren't policy procedure experts. They're just nurses. There's some are doctors that just. I have a big problem with doctors. Right now, I'd like to talk about that mostly because that affects every single one of us. Okay, and it could destroy your life. It can destroy your life and your family's life if you let it. Okay, we hold our doctors here in the U.S. to the highest regards, don't we? To the highest regards, regardless if you're a doctor and you have controversy, you're still held to the highest regards of our society, right? In the U.S. and usually around the world, but I'm just going to talk about the U.S. Right? Our doctors are held to the highest regards, right? Me, have learned not to do that anymore. They're just people, okay? And the reason I say that is because have experienced the uh, the the disregard and power that a doctor has to destroy your life. Not even that bad. They have the power with just a few words to not give you what you're exactly asking for, or um, you need, and it could be very, very troublesome if you're in a situation where the narrative, especially a narrative that has been going around with your medical situation, and then it gets to a doctor which you hold way up here. It could snowball into absolutely a negative situation, and that's what's been happening to me. I regard doctors now by learning. Okay, people, we don't. and I'm going to say it and keep repeating over and over. People, us, people around the world, we don't change. Okay, I want to say it again. We do not change. Okay, we use that word a lot. People use it. Oh, my husband changed. Oh, my son changed. My daughter, my wife changed. You know, we need to change, 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 change. The Obama administration used that word a lot, and people do not change. People learn. Okay, we learn how to be different. We learn not to put our finger in the electric socket. We learn everything. Okay, our brains are on 24 hours a day, and that's what we do. So I'm having my breakfast, so you gotta work with me here. So my situation is unique because I try to I have to think about how to make it so quick and easy to understand that I don't want to lose people by, oh Lord, this guy's talking. You guys want to be entertained. You want balloons, you want your you want a band playing, you want everything that's going to capture your attention. Well, I'm telling you guys, this should capture your attention. All right, this should get your guys' attention. I'm 54 years old, have been dealing with the VA to address my medical status, my medical condition, my medical health. I have not been receiving any of that through the Veterans Administration toward a TBI, which is a traumatic brain injury. Okay. I have been indirectly been giving medical help through the VA with a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Oh, his back injury, let's get him some ibuprofen. Oh, I have high blood pressure. Oh, let's get him the medication for the high blood pressure. That absolutely has nothing to do with my TBI. Well, not exactly. It does. It's affecting. It's my central nervous system that affects everything in my body. But it's not. It's not. Through the VA, it's not the primary reason I'm having it. I'm getting that help. They're not saying, well, that your TBI is causing your high blood pressure. To because it's a nervous system. Your nervous system your is like your journal. Your nervous system is like the news. It's always on. Okay, and it tells people what's going on with your body. Okay, that's what it does. It picks up on this. It picks up on that. All right. If you're having a heart attack, guess what? Guess what the nervous system is saying? You're having a heart attack. Right. If it was a silent body, right? If your body was silent and we didn't know we were having heart attacks, then everybody would be dead. Okay. So thank God for the central nervous system. All right. So I have a dysfunction of the central nervous system, the entire body, the central nervous system in a whole. Okay. So this should alarm people about what I'm going through. All right. The more unique it is, the more it should be addressed. The more it should get the attention of the people in power, the people who are supposed to be helping me. Who are these people? Huh? Who are these people that are neglecting my medical care through the Veterans Health Administration and outside the VA? Who are these people? They're people. They're not robots. They are people. Okay. Well, who are they? Well, I know who they are. All right, and one section of them are doctors. Okay, ain't no doctor, and you guys know this. You guys know this as well. Ain't no doctor going to put their career on the line for me, no matter what. Even though I'm a soldier, hey, it's a soldier. Let's thank him for his service. Thank you for your service. You without you guys, it wouldn't be us. I wouldn't be here in this freedom loving land, and making a career of myself and all this stuff. But yet, it's the same people that we hold to the highest regard that are damning me, that are not giving a shit about forwarding my case. That's an important word, forwarding. forwarding my case to somebody who gives a shit, who can say, well, look, doc, I don't mind. Doctors, I don't mind if you guys are scared. I just don't know your case. And look, I'm way, way, way past that. Okay. Way past that. Okay. This is a situation why I'm bitching about it online is because I had more than a dozen doctors, people, ignore my case by just sheer the narrative. I'm in this narrative through the VA, and this is where important information, folks. This is important information. I'm in this narrative through the VA that I'm in a sort of fraud. Uh, uh, um, we'll create this bucket. Okay. So the VA is throwing me in this bucket to create a narrative, and the narrative is that I'm lying about my disability. All the physicians that I've seen through the VA have put me in that bucket, right? And some all of it, just about all of it, is because of the narrative. Well, if my says, let's say you're a doctor and your friend, your buddy next to you, you're like, well, let's say I saw you and you're like, well, I just don't understand it, so you're an anomaly. It's let's call it the anomaly bucket, right? So I saw you and you're like, well, I just don't understand the disability, Sergeant De Leon. I'm sorry, but I can't help you. I don't. Okay, well, Doc, how about forwarding me to somebody? Okay, sure. How about I send you to my friend? Well, guess what your friend's going to say? Right. So I've been dealing with that negativity for 8 to 10 years, folks. And I say 8 to 10 years because I'm not too sure exactly how long it's been. I can do the math, but actually dealing with it has been 8 to 10 years because when I first got back from my tour and I had surgery on my back. Okay, we'll get to all this, folks. This is all in due time. But immediately, let's get this moving. Okay. Immediately back, I don't blame any single doctor or any process to be saying we just don't know what's going on with you, and that was fair, and that's why I say 8 to 10 years. So it was fair, but it's definitely 8 years plus, right? So no one knew, and I can say, yeah, I completely understand that. I give that margin of error to the process because there's just no way possible they would know, and I didn't know myself. I mean, I absolutely had no idea I had a head injury that was going to be so drastic and severe. Okay, and when I mean drastic and severe, it's I don't mean as though like I had a bullet go through it. That would be more obvious. Mine was more of a specific um, um, injury to twice that I have gotten that added up to the severity of the function inside. So I didn't have to have a bullet go through my head. All I had to do was have the precise injuries that added up to the severity of my case. Okay, because it damaged cells in my brain, and now that's what's happening to me. Right, so I'm not being addressed properly because of that specific situation that I'm in. That's why I call it unique. It's unique. Okay. So, and I wish you guys find it interesting. You would find it interesting because if it's happening to me, it could happen to any individual in the world. Right. And so I would think that a doctor would take so much interest into it saying, oh my Lord, this is so unique. Let's follow through with it and get you the care you need. Just that alone. Right. Finding it so interesting as a doctor. And that's why I have some negative. I've learned to have negative opinions about doctors in general, but in the United States, since I live here, mostly. Okay, and I've experienced it. That's why this isn't just some negative opinion and then let's move on. No, this is the culture that our doctors are working with these days. This is how they develop in the United States. Okay, and I'm just going to point it out. All right, I'm just going to point it out. I've been disrespected by doctors here in Oro Valley, Arizona, in Tucson area. I've been disrespected by doctors, and it's okay, right? It's okay to be disrespected by doctors. Is that right? Well, if you hold doctors to the highest regard, way up here, why isn't it okay? You should be understanding, not the doctor. You should be understanding, because the doctor is, oh my Lord, the doctor has so much pressure. It's such a critical job that there's no way that a doctor could be wrong about his opinion or her opinion, right? There's no behavior that the doctor can have that's negative toward you, right? There's no theory that a doctor will have to say, well, if I have a theory, then usually I'm right on somehow. And you need to go about dealing with it that way instead of having your own opinion, because your opinion don't matter. You don't have an opinion when it comes to a doctor's opinion. Your opinion is washed out, right? Oh, we consider our patients to be, we work with patients. That's a bunch of bullshit, people. We need to get real with our doctors here in the United States. I'm not going to advocate for other doctors, and I'm really advocating for doctors. We need as many doctors as we can, but right now I'm going to give you my opinion of the experience I've been having with doctors, because it's been affecting me and my family the most. All right, and I blame them for it right now. Any doctor that has tried to address my case, I blame them for it, for how I'm sitting here right now with no help, not the proper POSs, policies and SOPs. I'm sorry, you got to work with me. I also have a delay in mine. I'm having problems with mine stuff. Standard operating procedures, and working with me to at least address whether they want to deal with it or not. Okay, and the SOPs, right? I find that there's no collective of doctors in any city that will get together, because they're so damn they're all narcissists, you know. They're all concerned about being a doctor and having the power to be on top of every community that they are invested in. Okay, it's all about power, folks. Doctors have power. They got enormous power. They have so much power because they're regarded as our saviors. They really are, right? They're regarded as our saviors, and they hold the key. They are the gatekeepers to a lot of opinions that you have to live with when it comes from somebody like a doctor. Politicians, they got other power too, but doctors are regarded people. They are regarded. You are conditioned as a child to understand that doctors in our country are regarded as the gatekeepers. Okay, without a doctor, you can't get this. Without a doctor, you can't get that. Without doctors' opinion, just opinion, the narrative going on with doctors in our country, you can't do this. You can't do that. I mean, absolutely. You know. So I have learned, because people don't change. I have learned how to see doctors in a different light. Right? Doctors are just people. They're just folks, right? And depending on the person, It all depends on the nature and the disposition of that person, that doctor. All right. Now, doctors have to protect themselves, and I'm not going to get into all this detail about, oh no, well, no, let's just talk about the surface of doctors. Okay. You guys got to make your own judgment about them. But I have learned that doctors, the gatekeepers of our society, um, once you start picking at them, and their abilities and authorities, then it becomes very unpleasant. Okay, I got fired recently from a doctor because of my advocacy for myself. Right now, so I'm gonna give you guys a little skinny. I don't want to get into all this boring shit. Okay, but in my medical case, so you guys will understand. I was trying to find a way to transition into it. Um, my medical is that since I have a central nervous system problem, dysfunction, people, central nervous system dysfunction. Okay, I had got injured here on the top of my head where my motor, and this is where everybody's motor is, primary, premotor, post motor, or whatever they, right here. It's right on top of your head. Well, sort of like a little more forward on your head, right here. You have this. Think about it as a slice of cake, right? It's right there. And then I injured it here also during a mission trying to avoid some IEDs, and together, both those injuries caused what I'm dealing with today. Okay, which was overshadowed when I was returning stateside from Iraq with a back injury, and the back injury didn't seem that bad either because I'm a tough SOB. Okay, I initially joined the service to be a tough ass, to help. Right, I was already in my 30s, people. Okay, in my 30s, I knew exactly what I needed to do. I didn't join the service to make friends. I didn't join the service to have a good time. I joined the service because of 9/11, right? And I just could not deal with sitting around, working around, doing whatever I was doing in my life, and not taking care of business for our country. So I joined a little late in my time, right? I was badass, people. Okay, I was in the regular army. I elected to do that and then transfer over to a special forces type unit once I got acclimated in the military, and that would have been, I wanted to get into communications. Go to Fort Huachuca in my area, learned to work with communications and some other specific stuff, and just deal with that and make a career out of it. Right. So the injury that I had sustained, both side and top, um, it caused some serious damage in my brain. Now, again, here we go, guys. Here we go. Well, who would know that? The people we hold to the highest regards are doctors. They're the only people that are the gatekeepers of forwarding that situation, which is my situation, on, to forward it on, to push it forward, right? Who else is going to forward it on? Who else is going to push it forward besides the doctor, the janitor, the groundskeeper? I can't surely do it, right? I can say, and we'll get into that, but I can say whatever I need to say and tell them what's going on. But they're the gatekeepers of belief. They're the gatekeepers. They're the gods of believing. I mean, I literally have to pray to these doctors. I don't pray to the Lord. I pray to the doctors that they will forward my case to the proper elements, to the proper situation, to the proper medical diagnosis, to the proper medical SOPs. You know, And so right now, I'm damned. I'm in a damning situation because the narrative, people, the word on the street, in other words, the narrative is that I don't have a TBI because of the negativity I have received early on by trying to address my TBI. So I came back, I had a back injury that was, oh boy, I don't even want to talk about it. It was so bad that it was hurting my head. I was having headaches, and that was part of my TBI was the headaches, but my back seemed like it was just tearing me apart. Right, so I had got surgery on it, and as I was going through that process, a TBI wasn't something that anyone was looking into as a possibility. It was not. And then considering, the way I got it in wartime, no one thought that that would be a possibility that I would have a TB. So the narrative on these doctors, when they write it down, it's clad. It's like clad proof now, right? Clad proof. So to break that chain, I have to literally call our Lord God to come down and tell these gatekeepers, hey, you guys are on the wrong path about what's going on. But since you guys are regarded as the high, almighty, dictators of our country, um, nothing's going to get done with it. So it's going to take Moses come over here and split this narrative in half, right? Like he split the sea, he's going to have to seriously split my narrative in half and say, those of you that don't think he has a TBI over there, those of you that are considering, yes, absolutely has a TBI, and there is no other way it would not be a TBI. You guys go over there. And so in between, where does that leave me? Huh? Where does that leave me? Exactly. That leaves me with no power, no narrative, no control, and I have to deal with crumbs and anomalies and scared doctors. I have to deal with doctors. What do you call it? They're when you have a you know when a doc when a doctor personality and what's the word I'm looking for? Um, their reputation. It's important for a doctor. They can sit there and tell you all day it's not important. Oh no, I'm a skilled person. Now bullshit. Bullshit. Talk to me. Tell me that when you're in your $2 million house, and everything matters, right? They're not going to risk it for me, folks. So I'm in the middle. I'm in this purgatory of authority. This is important part right here, folks, because this is the main reason why I'm sitting here. I'm in purgatory where I can't have a doctor commit because of the narrative that has been going on, and they are reluctant to have it change. Just the narrative, not even my medical situation, just the narrative. Well, I don't think he has it. They're the gatekeepers, people. I'm telling you. I so I'm in the middle with the reset button. That's what I want to happen. And I've been trying to explain to these people. I have the reset button. Let's just reset it. There's no negativity toward the doctors that have already evaluated me, that refuse to evaluate me, that are following a negative narrative, that are convinced to their whatever it is that they commit to. That I don't have a TBI, and oh no, and this reputation, and oh well, now I'm following this. So no, you're not. Okay, why don't we hit the reset button and everybody go about their things? Okay, and let's start as a lot of soldiers have gotten TBIs from coming back overseas because they were at the right time in the right position to get it. Right? There are people who are walking around right now, so excuse me, with TBIs, working, doing whatever they need, and they get everything they need for their TBI, and they received it because of the proper, they were in at the right time in the right place. They're coming back from overseas, and things have to happen a certain way, and so they received it. Me, it didn't happen that way because I did not think that I would have such an extreme situation to deal with the TBI. My first hit with the TBI, I passed out a few. It was right here on top of my head. I was trying to manage some convoy contractors, and it was at night. I didn't see the door, went right under it, boom, hit it, fell down, found some people around me, got really scared, got up, pointing my weapon. I did not know what was going on, so came to immediately. I had no choice but to. That was my initial. Started having some headaches, that sort of thing. The second one I hit here was trying to avoid IED. Went into the middle of the median on the highway, hit my back. That's where I injured my back. Oh man, it was terrible because I couldn't see where it was so dark. It was at night. Couldn't see where I was headed in the back of a vehicle. And so when I hit, when you are not prepared for an injury and you don't know, you can't see or determine the distance or anything when you get injured, it's terrible. Yeah, it's almost as though that injury goes right through you. And it's so bad because you are not tensed up to be ready for an injury. When you get injury, usually you can see stuff, but when you're not, it seems to be worse. Right. So I received that back injury, and it was terrible. Oh man, I'd be locked up trying to stretch it out for staying fit in the army. It was only a few weeks. About a month, and well, about a month and a half, and I was trying to stretch it out. I had PT, my physical testing to be done, and man, I was struggling. Right? But I didn't even know anybody because throughout my life before joining the military, I was a tough SOB. Nothing was going to phase me when you get hurt. I didn't have health insurance. I was one of those people, right? You get in and out of health insurance. I grew up that way. It's the way I grew up. So I would take a hit pretty good. So, I didn't think it was such a bad injury. Sciatic nerve was hurting me. And people get injuries throughout their life. And so mine, that it didn't seem like I should address it fully. Like, hey, I wanted to finish my mission. Um, after the injuries, I wanted to, say, hey, this is some stuff I can take care of. If it was so bad, I had a pole going through my head, then obviously, I couldn't say no to getting the care. So, but something that you can self-evaluate and you think you can deal with it, you usually do, right? You usually do take care, and that's what happened to me. It wasn't a second thought. So I kept having the problems with it, and then you know, after a little bit, after another month or so, after that, I started to think this injury may be a little more intense, more much more worse than I'm thinking, but it wasn't enough still to cross that line to say, hey, I think I need to exit this mission and go see a doctor. And it just wasn't enough. It just was not enough to make that decision. And I didn't want to bring it across to somebody. I did bring it across my head injury and my back injury, and I did receive some ibuprofen stuff through it while on mission. But I didn't address it as though, hey, I need to really be at the hospital, and I don't want to be on mission anymore, and I want to call it quits. I think I'm injured to an extent. It just wasn't happening, folks. You're not going to do that. Okay. So it was addressed, but I now started to receive the minimum, back, ibuprofen, some mostly ibuprofen. That was a drug of choice, right? And so as it continued, it didn't go away. So coming back home in April 10th, 2009, um, I had exit the military, and they've even asked me, hey, do you have any concerns? And I said, yeah, I have a back injury. I might hit my head, but I did not want to. How can I say? I did not want to have somebody in the military who didn't know anything about what was going on with my injury. I just knew that I can take care of it. I didn't want them to start making decisions to postpone me from coming home. I during the medical evaluation when you get back, I just said, yeah, my head, my back, but my back was so bad that I was really pointing out, well, my back, can I take care of it at my home? And they said, yeah, when you get home, you can take care of it. You don't have to stay here with the Army, and they evaluate. It could be months. And the good thing is that I made the right decision, because if I didn't elect to take care of it at home, I would not have gone through the how can I say, the aggravation of actually making my TBI more addressable. So I would have been sitting doing nothing in this Army thing, no physical, no nothing. But when I was out of the military home, I was able to do whatever I wanted to. So I aggravated what could have been a much longer evaluation, which I haven't got evaluated for it, but a much more longer wait time for the TBI to manifestate. Right? It wouldn't have become more apparent if I wouldn't have been home. So I just it became a little sooner, which was the best option I had. I'm so glad that I took that. But now I'm having such a hard damn time trying to get the VA to believe my situation. And I put it that way because that's the basis of my case right now. The VA does not believe that I have a TBI. Okay, and I've already explained to them the story. I said, look, I kind of feel bad. I damn myself by not staying in the military and getting all this stuff addressed. But then I didn't. It was a positive situation, because I aggravated the TBI to present itself much sooner after I got surgery on my back. Oh, I'm so glad I got that, but it was not a successful back surgery. The central nervous system picked up on the surgery. Okay, and this is what's going on with my central nervous system. The central nervous system is always on, right? It's always on. It's like a damn electrical cord. It's like our electrical lines. It's always on, and it will pick up on anything. If it was, and so with my case, if it was severe enough, and I've learned that the central nervous system is it's unique, because it has an intensity level. It has, like, there's a level of injury that your central nervous system will pick up on and decide what to do with it. Right. So, for instance, some people intensity levels are very low. So if they get injured, they could lose functions of body parts, that kind of stuff. Well, I don't know what mine is, but I know that after the back surgery, I was having drop foots, and my legs started to go numb, and I couldn't use it. That was my left leg. I couldn't use it, so I just couldn't put it together, and I thought, this is strange. right? So I expect the doctors that we hold regard way up here to have a little more knowledge than me about, hey, and I thought that they would be more concerned about it, right? Like, oh my God, you're losing your leg. Oh my God, oh my Lord. I received jack crap. Okay. I received nothing. Like no medical curiosity, as my the boss says, my wife. There's I can't believe that there's no medical curiosity toward your situation. Literally none. And so, I went through the process with that for a few years. I was telling, and everything started to go. Like my left leg, my buttocks, part of my back, and then it started to go over to my right leg. Right leg started to go, buttocks, part of my back, and then I started experiencing other things. This is where it gets really interesting, people. This is where I started to think, man, something's definitely not right. I mean, I would be as confused as you are just hearing the story, right? I mean, after a few months after it, I got surgery on my hand, which was I injured this fella here on my you see the scar there. I got a ulnar release surgery through the VA. I try to do everything through the VA for record keeping. So I got surgery on that because I was losing the finger function. Like I started like, hey, what the heck? And my hand would hurt more often than not. It just throb and hurt, and that's how just because of the injury. And so I went in and said, hey, I'm losing function of these fingers, and I just couldn't put it together. I couldn't put it together, folks. Couldn't put it together yet because when you're in pain, you can put anything together. Bully, stop scratching on the rug. I couldn't put, you don't want to deal with nothing. You don't want to deal with people crying. You don't want to deal with making decisions. You don't want nothing when you're in pain, right? It's like a toothache. You're just like, oh my God. Like, what do you want? What? You don't want to deal with nothing. So that's what I was in, right? And so when they did surgery, after surgery, I lost the entire arm function. Yeah, the entire arm left the function. So then, right? So then my spidey senses were like, wait a minute, right? I mean, I was just so stupid. I didn't know how to put it together in the beginning, but I started to put it together, and I thought, wait, hey, what's going on here, right? So then, as time was going on, just a little bit, a couple of weeks, I started having a lot of problems. Lots of problems. I got pancreatitis. I started losing eye function. I started this jaw thing. I'll explain a little bit. Started losing head movement. I got diabetes. I started having a whole bunch of like dysfunctional stuff. I was having some symptoms of feeling like my heart was not operating correctly and all sorts of things. I was having a bunch of problems I cannot pinpoint to take care of every single one of them. Right. Then I ended up putting it together with the arm. I tell you, man, the arm situation with the hand. I I after surgery with the hand. Okay, and I got out immediately, and a nurse. I remember this. A nurse came up and said, "Hey, let me see your," and I'm out of it, right? I'm just coming recovering from the anesthesia. I'm coming out of it. Let me see your hand, right? And I found it kind of strange that she was so demanding about it. It wasn't like, oh, so how you doing? No, it's like, let me see your hand. So I got up. I must have been saying something, that alerted them. And so then she picked it up and she said, move your fingers. And I was able to do some little things, but then I was like, it's difficult. I remember saying it's difficult. I don't know. So then she left and came back and said the same. Well, let me see your hand. And then I couldn't move it. It almost seemed as though she got pissed off at me. And she bustled out of there, get this little, and she took off. Right then, I was like, "What the hell's going on here?" I thought I was in trouble. Right? I'm like, "Oh shit, I'm in trouble." And since then, I've been doing all my research to figure out what's going on with my central nervous system. Well, then I started to attach the scenario of how I received both head injuries, and I thought, could it be? And surely it is. I mean, if it's a duck, it sounds like a duck. It's a duck, and this is the only place I can pick it up. The specific injury to what's going on with me. To have a dysfunctional central nervous system. And I mean, I did this research for years. And this is why I've learned how to address doctors now. I've gotten in so many conflicts with doctors. I've created a narrative of that I am not workable with doctors because of my own advocacy toward my health. And I really pissed off some people. Right? And that was my job. So I've learned about doctors. I've learned how much schooling they have, but then I also learned about doctors' personalities, what they go through, how much time they put into actually committed to their jobs, what kind of you know security do they have to protect for themselves as being doctors. And I've been through it all. I've researched it. I've started thinking through it. Well, oh yeah, doctors this, doctors that. And I've learned that when a doctor wants to be full of shit, they can be entirely full of shit. Okay. When they want to help, they can help. All right. But it is a culture into which most of us are very, very precautious about when we address doctors. Okay. Well, I've learned that I don't give a shit either. And I'm going to be just like them. I'm going to fight. I'm gonna behave just like the way they behave. Well, hey, I'm the gatekeeper. Well, I'm the gatekeeper to my own opinion, right? And so I've been addressing them that way, and it has not been pleasant. All right, I know what I'm talking about, people. So after researching, what's going on with me, I also had I went shooting. I went hunting with a veteran organization. This was even after this. And I had to use the rifle while the recoil from the rifle went to the between the ribs, and it was pretty bad. I remember getting a huge bruise. I usually don't do that, but since I couldn't use my right, I'm right-handed. I was using my left. I was in an odd position at the point of it. Remember, oh man, and man, I was having some problems with that. Yeah, bruised, and I don't ever receive that, but I did. Well, guess what happened? The central nervous system picks up on it, and I can't use this muscle anymore. Yeah, it doesn't work. I have to, and I'll get into a little bit of what I can manipulate. And so that doesn't work anymore. Okay. Then, what was the other one? Yeah, there's another one. Um, the tooth. So I went to have a tooth extracted, right? And I had this. I'm already all into. I'm way into alerting people what's going on with my central nervous system, but the VA is not believing me, so I have to fight through that. I have to, left, right, left, right. I have to fight. I have to fight this narrative, right? That's so negative against me. And so at the same time I'm fighting this narrative, I'm going through the process of losing function because I don't get the proper medical SOP management for what I need. Okay, that's what I'm fighting. So then I had this tooth extraction. I went in and I think this doctor just again he's a dentist. A doctor has all the right in the world to have an attitude, and I don't mind a doctor with a bad attitude or a pompous. I don't mind them. I actually enjoy it with them being confident. I just don't want them unconfident enough where they're dumbly educated. Right? That's what my podcast is called, by the way. The dumb educated. Yeah, it's a culture. It's a way of living. People are dumbly educated all across the world, and you can go in and out of it. Mostly live it. Live because you've been told to get the degree, being a doctor, being a teacher, being whatever. But you know, it's just an ability, right? It depends on the person, how they treat other people, um, their interest in their career. What if they're really really into making a difference in their career for themselves. Learning. It all depends on the individual. So so the guy literally turned this thing, man. I mean, he was like, he turned it, and I can hear it. Right, I can hear it cracking. Right, it's like turning a root. Right, it'll crack. So he kept doing that, and then he took a pause because it wasn't coming out. And I was, you know, I don't know what was happening in my back, but I'm usually not able to arch, and I was arching. That's how bad it was. And so I was just there laying on this thing, thinking, just pull the damn thing out of my head, son of a bitch. I'm gonna kill somebody right now. I'm gonna kill you, man. And so after the second break, it came out. Whink! And oh shit. I mean, man. And then guess what happened? A few moments later, after leaving, because it's almost like they kicked my ass out. They're like, okay, we pulled you to get the hell out of here. Like I was out the door already. I started feeling this, like, I don't know, like a heat. And it was, felt like it was just like blood was rushing out of my face. That's what it felt like. And then I was like, I couldn't move my tongue on the thing. I couldn't. So right now I'm a ventriloquist, and so part of the jaw area is not functioning because the central nervous system picked up on it and got rid of the function because it's bad right here. It's not working properly, folks. And I got that from the TBI from both injuries, specific. I do have a picture of my bump on my head right here. Somebody took a picture of a soldier thinking it was funny, which at the time it was. I mean, it's huge. It was a big thing there, and it had a cut on top. Oh man, I can't even remember the details of it, but it happened. So this no longer no bueno doesn't work. So my central nervous system is picking up on um, any intensity of re-injuring something on my body or injuring something on my body, and then it's coding itself as protecting itself, so it gets rid of the function. You see what I'm saying? So that's a protection. In other words, the body's doing. Okay. If the brain were to have an adaptation of creating a new arm, I would have another arm. But it doesn't do that, folks. It shuts it down because it's protecting the rest of the brain, right? It doesn't want to, the brain to pick up on other parts of the brain and start having a dysfunction all over your body because then you just die. You can't breathe, can't do this, can't do that. The brain is everything, folks. So now I have the dysfunction of having, and this is the most important part about my situation, is that I've learned, and doctors don't believe me. People, I'm trying to tell you, doctors across whoever I've seen across Arizona, I've been to Phoenix and to Tucson, they don't believe me. Okay? Because if they did, I already mentioned to that dentist that I have a central nervous system problem. And if he pulls that tooth and the nerve picks up on it, I could have an issue. Well, guess what? I had an issue. So whose fault is that? It ain't my fault. I'm advocating for myself because no doctor wants to take the initial demand and interest into protecting me. That's right. That's also a doctor's job, is to protect his clients, to protect the people. That's what doctors do, right? And health-wise, hey, let's create a medical management thing for you because if you don't take this medication, it's going to get worse. That's protecting us, and I'm not getting that protection, people. So, and it's not dismissive in a They're not doing it like, oh, I just don't know what I'm doing. Are you kidding me? As a doctor, you don't know what you're doing. I don't need you as a doctor if you don't know how to address that. You know, doctors know how to address that. That's what they go to school for, to be more aware and alert of what they're dealing with their clients, right? That's the whole part of being a doctor. This adds to that, this affects that, this affects that, right? And then you get medical management treatment. That's how it works, people. I look again. You guys may be not agreeing with all that, but I do not. Uh, I have learned that doctors, in my mind, I don't hold them as high as in regard as our society is supposed to. I don't. Right? They're a bunch of fuck ups too. Okay. The career itself is is admirable. You know, to be a doctor is very admirable to be one. You get lots of respect. But, you know, it doesn't matter within a doctor's career whether you make a mistake in the beginning or in the end of your career. It doesn't matter. And that's what's happening to me. A lot of these doctors have been around and they're following a narrative that is hurting me. But they don't want to look into it because it stops right there. The buck stops and they don't have to deal with, hey, you know, this guy's complaining. Oh, no, we're not going to deal with that. It's all about their ass. And you know, I can understand it. I wouldn't want to deal with a patient either that is complaining that, you know, he has this dysfunctional thing and the narrative that is already attached to prior to me even seeing that patient is negative. You know, is like, oh no, oh no, this patient's just, you know, this patient don't know what he's talking about. He says he has this, you know, and that's the narrative. So I blame him for that. There's no excuse for that, people. There is no excuse for that behavior, especially coming from a doctor. All right, I'm not a PhD in behavior. I'm a PhD in common sense. I know because if I were a doctor under my disposition, I would find a way to find it interesting, right? I would find some interest into what's going on with this patient because that's what doctors are supposed to do. Minimum in the minimal, right? I haven't found one yet that is interesting. I have had no, actually, let's recap that. I have found one that wanted to forward me to another doctor, and that person, just by looking at the doctor and a doctor's eyes, the doctor was a little perplexed by what was going on with me, and I think took it to heart and actually, you know, found some interest in it. But because they were immediately very honest with me up front, I said, you know, I just don't have the skills to deal with you. I'm going to forward you to my friend. But again, people, again, forwarding you to the friend also forwards you, comes with you as a package, the narrative, the information from gatekeepers that have already added an evaluation to who you are, what's going on with you. And most of it is not supported, right? Because it started with, well, we just don't know what it is. And then it turned into no, and then no and yes and no and yes, and or not really yes, but no, I don't know, no, I don't know, no, I don't know. And so the total of it is I'm an anomaly. And so to be nice about saying no as a doctor is saying it's an anomaly, right? People, I got injured twice on my head, had a back injury that covered my entire body because it was so bad that I'm still receiving care for it right now with injections, and I got opioids and all sorts of stuff. It's terrible, this back thing. I got internal stenosis inside the canal. People, I'm only 54 years old. I shouldn't have that. So no one has added it up. I've been through Congress. right? I was the one that did Martha McSally ad, one of Martha McSally's ads. Been through Congress, been through senators, been through organizations like DAV, Wounded Warrior Program, all of them. I've been through all of them, folks, and so I've been very reluctant now, and I'm done pouring my heart out to try to get somebody to understand my situation, because the gatekeepers, the doctors that we hold way up here, they don't want to reset, right? Even though it's so obvious that I have a TBI. I've been through all the evaluations, tick bites, strokes, you name it. People have been through it. There's only one answer, okay? And the answer is not being addressed because gatekeepers have already addressed their reputation on it, right? They don't want to deal with the package, right? We all come with baggage. My baggage is a poor narrative toward my medical assessment. And it just rolls, people. It rolls. And unfortunately, mine's been rolling for years. And I'm tired. I'm done. Right? I'm not here to convince doctors. I'm here to try to get somebody to say, this is completely wrong. This guy is not being properly addressed. This guy is not being properly treated as a veteran. This guy is being medically neglected because of a narrative. Right? And so I want somebody to get a hold of me and say, you know what, I'll take on your case. I'll deal with this. This is absurd. And that's what it is. This is absurd. So that's my advocacy for today. I'm going to do it every single day, people. Okay? Every single day. And Marco.adeleon, the number 1 at gmail.com. If you have anything that I don't want, I really don't want. I've been through lots of programs, folks, and believe me, I've discovered programs that are working directly from the government to help veterans. I've been through so many of them that I'm trying to tell you the baggage that comes with my narrative or my medical health that I'm claiming um, has a decision already, right? It's being regarded as an anomaly, and no one's going to extend themselves to forward my case to somebody who would want to help. Okay, it's so laxative now. Like they're like, yeah, yeah. No, we didn't got to do it. Yeah. It's so laxative now that because of the time that I've been dealing with it, that that alone, the time frame, tells these doctors that there's something wrong with me. Like I think it leans toward a fraud. Like, oh, this guy is some kind of something fraud. I don't want to get into it, and they continue with the same narrative, and that's what's been going on. Okay, so I desperately need the authority, somebody to come in and say, you have a reset button, yeah, reset, and then then I want to get into, and this is where the story is going to continue. If you guys want to keep following me, I can't wait until start getting into the accountability phase, because there are doctors that should be accountable for what's going on with me, right? And I know it, and some people. So now I'm gonna pour that out, man. I'm gonna say, well, what about this guy? Well, what about that girl? What about this? And and damn any of those doctors who have fired me. Damn you, right? You're not a doctor, right? You're just a career. You're a career medical person that wants to deal with the easiest possible stuff. And if something comes hard your way, I can't tell you what you're gonna. But you haven't gone. You didn't take my case, right? you get a little, you get a little upset because a patient is pointing out some things that you don't want to hear. You're gonna fire him, and I got fired recently from a doctor. Joanna Evans, that's her name. Yeah, fired me because she couldn't handle me. Oh, he's disrespectful. Disrespectful, weighing out his disability. I'll take the disrespect. Absolutely absurd, people. Absolutely absurd. You're going to be that sensitive to being finding that I'm disrespectful, then you shouldn't be a doctor, right? There's a thing called integrity. But oh wait, I can't tell you anything because you're a doctor. You're regarded way up here. I can't possibly be right about my assessment of a doctor. No way. There's no way. You're a peon, considering that these people have, you know. All I know is I'm not being fooled anymore by these career doctors. It's like a politician. It's like a career politician. Well, don't you have term limits? Yeah. Well, a doctor should be the same way. They get all this experience, and then it just supports their ego because they learn to follow this path of the least resistance. You know, no challenge, no nothing like that. Oh well, that's not my career. Enjoy your fucking career, because you know what? I know exactly what your career is. You don't fool me anymore, right? I don't hold these people up regard like that. I can hold people's career higher, but they ain't one of them, right? Until I meet one that actually is gonna give a shit, I would hold that individual that high. Not every doctor. The hell with these doctors, man. They need a reset in our country. Yep, they sure do. Treating people like me. If they treat me like that, people, they're going to treat you like that, and they have been. You just don't know it because you're so overwhelmed with, oh, doctor, oh my God, you're a doctor, oh wow. The hell with doctors. I'm going to die anyway, so what the hell am I worried about? A doctor's reputation. The hell with them. If you want to help, then fucking help. Don't have this. I'm a doctor. Like, yeah, I know that. Well, what kind of doctor are you? You know, that's a big question. So there's my advocacy thing. We'll get into more of the story. But if you guys can please forward this to, somebody who give a shit, and let's create some followers, some doctors, and specialists, and all that kind of thing to just talk about it. I just want doctors to talk about it, and I want like, hey, that's interesting. I want a doctor to say that. I haven't had one doctor say that. I have, like I said, I had a doctor that looked like they wanted to say it, but no. Let's have a doctor say, hey, you know what? That's fucking interesting, man. That's why I'm a doctor. Let me look into that. I don't want any commitment unless you have a commitment. And I have people I'm working with. Kirsten Cinema, I've been trying to get with here. She's been sending me. I'm going to send her an email all the time now. She's calling the VA. Hey, you guys aren't taking one of my clients. Thank you, bye. And then nothing happens. I've been through a lot of people, a lot of senators, a lot of Congress people. I even called the Veterans Committee Affair members. They're supposed to call me. No one has called me back. My own brothers and sisters with no arms and legs that are working in Congress, they haven't called me back. So Marco.A.DeLeon, the number one at gmail.com. Get on. This is a Restream. Um, I really need some help, folks. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be getting worse, but I definitely need medical management. I'm receiving some medical management, but everything has been done by me. In my records, I have done so much research that I have mentioned certain medical terms to doctors that they literally put those terms in my records. That's my experience. I'm receiving some medication indirectly for what's going on. I'm starting to learn that, like opioids, um, they help with not just feeling good because it's a feel good drug, right? It helps with motor function. It helps with respiration. It helps with other cells in your brain needing it to do certain functions, right? But yet, the opioid thing is a bad thing because he just wants to get high, and then I have all these problems. You know, it's going to start doing, organ. I don't want it to start getting organ. I already have pancreatitis. Why? I'm not a drug user. I'm not a drinker. So, and it's starting to affect other parts of my urinating, my bowels. It's starting to affect, and for it to get to that point, um, it's going to be all due time now because of age, right? And so people are going to disregard it as me just getting older. I'm 54, folks. It's already affecting me. So I need, please pass this on to people who have the power to address me. Okay, please pass this on to people who have the power to address me and are willing to address the situation I'm in. All right, the hell with the politicians, Picture Cinema. You ain't helping me, but I'm gonna bother you. All my I'm a Republican guy. I don't care working with Democrats as long as they have an E for effort to forward my stuff to somebody who's going to give a damn and say, look, it's just a veteran. He has a unique situation, so let's address it. It's damn interesting. Just that alone, okay? Thank you much. Um, God bless you guys, and wish you all don't get into my situation because it will, it's going to kill you. So thank you very much, and let's continue this story till next time, till tomorrow.